What is up, everybody? It is the Orlando Show coming at you live from the day of UFC 300, the biggest event in UFC history. I'm hyped as shit. I don't know if you guys are. This podcast is hosted by your favorite comedian, me, Tony Orlando, and let's get right into the picks. So this is probably the best event the UFC has ever thrown in their 30 years of operation this year. So it'll be great to see some amazing fighters. I think 13 former champs are on this card, guys on the pound-for-pound list, some of the most entertaining fighters in the world. So I know you guys are clamoring for my picks. I know you crack addicts are out there on the corner like, oh my God, when is he going to put out his picks? Well, I'm doing it the morning of the fights most of the time. So with this pod, I'm going to try to have guests in the future. If you think this pod's funny, cool. If you don't, fuck you, shut up. I didn't ask. So yeah, let's get right into it. So starting off the card, first fight of the day, or of the night, is Deiveson Figueiredo versus Cody Garbrandt. Now, thinking about this fight, Figueiredo's very nasty. A lot of elbows, a lot of knees, punches really hard, was a 125er for a while. You know, he's a very nasty fighter. He's coming up to 135. I just think he just came off beating Rob Font, too. And Rob Font's a really good boxer, kind of stationary, though. But I don't know, man. I think Cody Garbrandt's going to have way too much dynamite in his hands. I think he's got Hiroshima and Nagasaki in his two fucking hands, dude. I think he's going to Oppenheimer the shit out of Figgy. I just think Cody Garbrandt has way too much power. He's a normal 135er. He's big for the division. He's good wrestling, too. So if Figgy tries shooting takedowns, I think Cody's got that all day. So I'm picking Cody in that one with my first pick. Next fight of the night, Jim Miller versus Bobby Green. Bobby King Green, whose fighting style is hood, as he says. I like Bobby Green. I think he's an entertaining fighter. He did get absolutely flatlined by Jalen Turner, who's also on this card. Knocked out and then punched 10 more times, and then woken up again and then knocked out again. So it's pretty fucked up way to get knocked out. I still think he's chinny from that. And honestly, he's fighting Jim Miller, who has fought on UFC 100, 200, and 300. So that's a crazy feat in and of itself. But I think Jim Miller's going to sleep him, dude. I think Jim Miller's been putting people to sleep as of late. I think his hands have been really solid. He also has really good jiu-jitsu and a good ground game. So I'm taking Jim Miller in that one. Next up, we got Jessica Andrade versus Marina Rodriguez. Jessica Andrade is a little bulldog for strawweight? For strawweight, she's a little small for the division, but she has power in her hands, kind of like Cody Garbrandt. But I do think Marina Rodriguez is going to be too long for her. I think she's going to hit her with knees and elbows, and also Rodriguez has a good ground game, so I'm taking Marina Rodriguez in that one. Up next, we have Jalen the Tarantula Turner versus Money Moicano. Give me more fucking money. Renato Moicano. This one I went back and forth through the week because watching the highlights of both of them, Jalen Turner has some nasty knockouts, but also he has a tendency that if he can't hit somebody hard, like if he gets frustrated in fights, you could tell that he gets kind of out of fights that he can't really hit the guy as hard as he would want to. And all of Moicano's finishes are rear naked chokes from the back. All of them. I was watching film on him last night. All of his finishes are rear naked chokes. So I think Jalen Turner just has to avoid that position. So through the week, I kind of was leaning Moicano because he has more ways to win. But I'm going to take Jalen Turner on the feet. I think he's going to put him to sleep on the feet. By the way, if these picks are bad, shut up. Like, whatever. It's funny. I hear from people if my picks are bad, people will text me and be like, your picks were shitty. I'm like, all right, cool, faggot, get the fuck out of my face. But no, when my picks are good, I don't hear anything from anybody. I should start charging 5% for all you guys betting on my picks. But I would say, yeah, Diego Lopez versus Sadiq Youssef is the next one. I'm taking Jalen Turner in that fight. Sorry, I got a little sidetracked. But Sadiq Youssef versus Diego Lopez. This is another great fight, man. Sadiq Youssef is a great all-around MMA fighter. Good ground game, really hard punches, good Muay Thai. He's a solid fighter. But I do think Diego Lopez is going to take this one because Diego Lopez reminds me a lot of young Oliveira. Just a lot of submissions. He's a blender if you try to take him to the ground. He's going to take a knee. He's going to take, your arm, something. He's always trying to leave the ring with something. So I could see Youssef going for a takedown on him and then getting caught in a triangle rear naked choke. So I'm going to go Diego Lopez in that one. Next up, we got Kayla Harrison versus Holly, the preacher's daughter, Holm. I know all you casual UFC fans know Holly Holm. She knocked out Ronda Rousey back in the day. She's the first one to knock out Ronda Rousey. I don't think this is going to happen. Kayla Harrison is a two-time, I think, Olympic gold medalist or something like that. I think she mops the floor with Holly Holm. I think she takes her down at will. I think she'll probably hurt her on the feet. I just think Kayla Harrison's way too much of a beast in the division to let this one go. So I'm taking Kayla Harrison. Up next, we have Calvin Kattar versus Aljamain Sterling. Now, Calvin Kattar, great fighter, man. Real good boxer, kind of stationary, really uses his weapons really well. And he's fighting Aljamain Sterling, who just got knocked out by Sugar Sean O'Malley for the bantamweight title at 135, and he's moving up to 45 to fight Kattar. I think this is a bad decision by Sterling. I think Sterling couldn't get O'Malley down, and O'Malley's a 10-pound less fighter than Calvin Kattar. So I don't think Aljamain's going to get Calvin Kattar to the ground. I think Cater's going to stuff his takedowns. I think Cater's going to come forward. I think Cater's going to knock him out. I don't know what round. I would say maybe second, but I'm taking Calvin Kattar in that. I just think he's too big. I think his boxing's too strong. But this is one of those where I kind of pick with my heart, kind of like the Jalen Turner fight, where I pick fighters I like, whereas the other guy probably has more ways to win. But I just think Calvin Kattar's going to walk through his shit and knock him the fuck out. So I'm going to go Calvin Kattar. In the featured prelim of the night, we got Jiří Procházka against Alexander Rakic. God, this one I go back and forth too, but in all honesty, Rakic is a pretty boring fighter. He's kind of a kickboxer that'll just sit there at range with you and, let you do what you're going to do and then try to head kick you or try to catch you slipping, kind of like the new age kickboxers do at the higher weights. As you see, actually, there's not as many grappling champions at the higher weights. It's all strikers, because I think if you try to go for my legs as a big guy, I'm going to knock you the fuck out. I'm going to punch you in the back of the head a few times, right on the ear, and that's how it goes. We saw it with Almeida versus Curtis Blades, where Yalton Almeida went for some takedowns on Curtis Blades, and Curtis Blades elbowed his fucking head off. Yeah, Curtis Blades elbowed him to death. So, I'm going to take Procházka in this one. I think Yuri's too different. I think Yuri's going to get in the pocket on Rakic and, land some crazy elbows, some knees, some spinning shit. He has this weird, run at you uppercut that I like Jiří a lot. I think, Jiří was doing well against Pereira, too, before Pereira put him to sleep. Alex Pereira, Poatan, Mr. Stoneface, but who's in the main event. But I'm going to take Procházka in that one. So, all right. So now we're into the main card, boys. This is where we all make our money. This is where you guys make your picks, all you degenerate gamblers betting your fucking rent money. Let me help you out a little bit, or not help you out. We'll see. All right, so Bo Nickel versus Cody Brundage at middleweight. This is the biggest underdog, I think, of all time. I don't know the numbers, but I know Cody Brundage is the biggest underdog, I think, in UFC history at this point. So, this fight to me is kind of like the first Nate and Conor fight, where coming into it, everyone just thinks Conor's going to mop the floor with Nate. Arguably so. Conor had some of the best skills of all time at that point fighting the Nate Diaz, but I don't know, man. I feel like Bo Nickel's going to do what he does. I could see Brundage maybe hurting him in the second, knocking him out. If, Cody or if Bo Nickel can't get Cody Brundage to the ground, then Cody's got a shot. But I don't know, man. Bo Nickel's a 4-time national champ at Penn State in wrestling. He's like a godsend for the UFC. He's a monster. I think the whole middleweight and welterweight divisions are in trouble with Bo Nickel because he's got real good wrestling. If he develops his striking, he'll take out anybody in those divisions, dude. So I'm taking Bo Nickel in this matchup. If you want to make your money, though, you might want to throw some money on Cody Brundage. You never know. It's the biggest underdog in UFC history. I would, but I'm not a betting man. The only time I've ever bet on UFC is when Sugar Sean O'Malley broke his foot against Cheeto. I threw money on O'Malley. So, yeah, fuck that. Never again. Never again, dude. I'm never throwing money on anything. Oh, yeah, and the only other time I bet was in 2019 when the Niners lost to the fucking Chiefs. So, no, not throwing money down. It's bad luck. So in our next matchup, oh, man, this card's amazing. Alex Du Bronx Oliveira or Charles Oliveira. Alex, different fighter. No, Charles do Bronx Oliveira versus Arman Tsarukyan. Now, this fight's interesting because Arman Tsarukyan has fought the champ Islam Makhachev, fought him to a decision. One of the only guys to ever land takedowns consistently on Makhachev. So, Tsarukyan's going to be in the lightweight division at the top 5, I think, for a while. He's a really good fighter, but I just think Charles is too dangerous. I think Charles has way too many spots he could finish the fight, both on the ground and on the feet. Charles is like an aura, man. He's one of these few fighters, I'll say, that is a consistent ninja fighter. Like, this dude's a ninja. The way he fights, man. He just is good everywhere, is nasty everywhere. Knees, elbows, punches, kicks. He'll climb your back and choke you out. Like Kevin Lee hasn't fought in 5 years because of what Oliveira did to his knees when they were on the ground when they fought like 5 some years ago. So Oliveira's a blender, man. He's a tough guy to try and hurt in the with the Super Saiyan hair too, man. Like, I just think Oliveira is a fucking beast. I'll take Oliveira on that one. And the next matchup, Justin the Highlight Gaethje versus Max Blessed Holloway for the bad motherfucker title, the BMF, which Justin Gaethje is the baddest motherfucker in the UFC. He's a all no nonsense kind of fighter. He's coming in there to knock your jaw into the second fucking round. He doesn't give a shit what you're coming at him with. Dude, he does a front flip where his back heel hits the guy in the face, where he'll front flip at you and his heel will kick you. So Justin's just a wild bull. Obviously, I'm taking Justin Gaethje in this fight. I just think he has too much power for Max. Max is a usual featherweight, and he's coming up to lightweight. I don't see that translating. I think Justin's going to do what he does against Max. But it'll be a great fight. I think it might even go to a decision, but I don't know, man. I don't know why they would do this to Max. Max is such a nice guy and a real beacon of light for the UFC, and they treat him like this. They give him the worst matchup in the entire UFC. I don't know, man. Dana's a dick sometimes. Dana gives these matchups. He's a dickhead. He knows what he's doing, too, which is fucked up. But, yeah, I'm taking Gaethje in that one. Again, if you want to make some money, you probably bet Holloway, but I don't know, man. I'm not betting against Justin Gaethje until maybe he fights Islam Makhachev because, Islam's real good on the ground, kind of like Khabib was, and Khabib put Justin Gaethje out. So, yeah. So I'm taking Justin in that one. So co-main, we got the fight for China. We have the Chinese champs, not Israel Adesanya, the real Chinese champs. We got Weili Zhang versus Yao Xiaonan for the World Strawweight Championship, both fighters being out of China, and I think that's pretty cool. I like how Dana put this as the co-main on the biggest card ever because I think it shows that MMA is growing around the world, which is really cool to see. And I think there's talent all around the world, so yeah, I'm happy to see this kind of matchup. I think it's good for the UFC. It's diversity, right? It's a good fight too, man. Weili Zhang. I'll say this: Weili is basically Black Widow from Avengers. Like, this bitch can knock people the fuck out, dude. She could kill a whole room of people. Like, Weili Zhang really impresses me as a fighter. She's an all-around. She's one of the GOATs. I think when she's done, I think she'll be second behind Amanda for, best women's fighter ever. I just think she's a ninja, too, bro. She has that ninja fighting style where anywhere you go, she's ready. So I'll take Weili in that one. But I think it'll be a good scrap. I think Yao Xiaonan's tough. But, yeah, I'm taking Weili all day. Now, here we are to the main fucking event. Alex Pereira, Stoneface as they call him, Poatan, versus Jamal Sweet Dreams Hill. I have gone back and forth on this fight thinking about it all week. A lot of potential. The thing is, though, Jamal Hill's coming off tearing his Achilles. With anyone who's torn their Achilles, you know that process coming back is weird, right? You don't have access to walking normally for a lot of the time. You're trying to make sure your Achilles is okay. Also, from being an athlete, from playing football my whole life and dealing with injuries, it fucks with your mental when you have something hurt like that. You really look at whatever you're hurt and you kind of don't trust it. Now, I'm sure Jamal Hill will be coming into the fight trusting his Achilles, but I don't know, man. I just feel like Pereira's been more active. Pereira knocked out Yuri. Pereira has those leg kicks. I think those leg kicks are going to be a huge factor in this fight. Even though Jamal Hill likes to switch stances, I'm taking Pereira. I think Pereira's left hook is disgusting. I think his check left hook is nasty. I think the leg kicks are going to play a factor. I think he's been more active. I think he'll be more comfortable in there. Plus, Jamal Hill knocked out his coach, which is Glover Teixeira, who's a former fighter. Now, that's like a movie that your sensei got brutalized by Jamal Hill. I mean, Jamal Hill butchered Glover Teixeira, cut him open. He was hitting him with windmill punches, like. And I don't know. Alex Pereira has the kickboxing background, like world class kickboxer, but dude, Jamal Hill has that fucking hood fighting style where it's like, oh, you're a black belt in kickboxing? That's cool. I'm a black belt in whoop your ass. Like, I'm going to punch you in the face, and we're going to see how tough you are. So I like Jamal Hill. I think he represents kind of that new era of fighters that are coming up in MMA. They're not scared of these kickboxers. They're not scared of wrestlers. They're going to put the fucking pressure on them. So I like Jamal Hill a lot, but I do think Alex Pereira's kickboxing will show. I think the leg kicks are going to be too much. I think he's going to wound him with leg kicks and then put him against the fence and hit him with a left hook and drop him. That's kind of how I see this fight going. But I can see Jamal Hill also starching him. Could go both ways. But, yeah, those are basically my picks. Follow the Orlando Show Pod on Instagram and YouTube. I'm too stupid to do the Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever. So I'm too lazy and stupid to figure that out. So, this will kind of be hopefully my weekly platform, sometimes monthly, who the fuck knows. I'm going to try to have guests. This will be cool. And stay safe out there. Don't get your fucking car bipped, all right? I'm coming from San Francisco, California, so. Yeah, don't leave shit in your car. And enjoy the fights. Don't bet your rent money on the fucking shit. Don't bet your rent money on these fights, please. Be smart. Enjoy the fights. And it's time.